Smell that rain.
Oh god, I just
Mm.
cracked my neck. Like, wow, I don't usually do that.
You're learning something from me. How
No,
to throw your
no,
head off your body.
no, no.
Behead yourself.
Stop. No. This is us coming at you from tired Auntie Land. I am
This
tired.
is our first like nighttime recording, so maybe that's some indication.
It's the eve before our first cook off.
24 hours ago, sitting there with a restaurateur, shooting the shit, eating some chicken soup.
Drinking a marg,
Yep.
a little margarita action.
Watching him drink ants for protein.
Well, which he tried to give to me.
Just wanted you to have the protein. He's been watching all of our episodes, probably. Right, Ender? Been watching all the episodes. Being like, Parul needs some ants. He needs some proteins. I'm going to sneak some ants in her margarita.
For reference, so you can understand what we're talking about here. I ordered a margarita yesterday at the restaurant that we'll be serving dinner at tomorrow. And I guess this is like a bad look to say this, but there are ants in my drink.
We live in the jungle, so it's a surprise there aren't more animals and more things.
This is true, because he's like, how the fuck did ants get in the sugar? And we're like, oh, right, because ants love sugar. Great. He's like, well, buy sugar. He didn't even seem that surprised. So I feel
No.
like, yeah, we are in the jungle. Yeah. Welcome to the jungle, baby.
And then 24 hours from now,
We're cooking in the jungle.
and doing our first pop-up of this June series.
And I'm tired. There's so much work that goes into this. I think like it's interesting because I thought of it at different points as like in so many ways there's more work when you do it with someone else, and in so many ways there's less work when you do it with someone else.
Mm.
Also, we've been cranky bitches today, so
It's been a day. It's Monday.
I don't know.
I don't know. Are we Mondaying? I don't know. It feels like every day's been the same day.
I do feel like I've been like riding the collective wave of energy, and like when like people like back in our hometown Toronto are feeling way hype, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually feeling hype too, and they're like, yeah, it's because you're in Costa Rica, and I was like, and they're like, oh, I'm feeling really not that great today, and I was like, me neither, and I'm like, am I just in your energetic bubble still?
Mm.
Anyways, which is fine.
Well, and we have what? How many people confirmed now for the dinner tomorrow?
15, and then we have like a strong handful of like people that are going to get back to us tomorrow. And you haven't even tapped into your humans yet, so now that you're awake and you're going to be like, hey guys.
Yep. I got a few people on the list. I got a few people confirming.
I think we're going to max out.
I mean, max out was what, 30 at that place?
25 is what we are saying.
Okay. So already that's more than half of the list.
Yo, I feel really good. And then maybe
that's-
walk-ins or like add-ons.
I think some people will be like, what are you doing for dinner? You just show up, right? But I think like that's another way we'll ride the energy wave. Right now they're just names on a list, and we've kind of made these soft commitments. We haven't even done our groceries yet, but like it's kind of like, you know, feels like the part where you're still going uphill, and then when we have like bags of groceries in a couple of hours, it'll be like the downhill part, and then it'll just be like execute. Right?
I think being in the kitchen is going to be so fucking fun. Like jam some beats, like put some like loud music on and like just jam out. It'll be like, I love like listening to music in the kitchen. I guess also I like that we've divided some of the dishes because then we could just like flow in that dish, which I think is going to be real nice.
Just lean into our workspaces.
Yeah, and just get into like that flow state, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate too, like all professional kitchens seem to have like their own rhythm. They tend to crank their music. They got their like
Murder She Wrote
little
some.
rituals. Yeah. So I think for us too, it's like making up what serves us as we pull this off for the next few weeks. I've never worked in a professional kitchen before. I worked fast food once, way back when I was 17, maybe 18, and definitely like the prep step of doing all that stuff kind of felt like this. You kind of took inventory, set up your workstations, kind of made a checklist of where you needed to be. There definitely was like a head manager in charge, so we'll have to figure out how to do head auntie in charge, which like we could flip back and forth. We can nominate just to make sure that someone's got one eye on the clock and sort of helping to make sure that the whole thing is coming together.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever that means.
whatever that means for the first time. I'm also a bit nervous about cooking in like a kitchen that's unfamiliar to us. Like, it is a way better kitchen than we have here, and it is a kitchen that serves hundreds of meals a week, and has for like, over a decade. So it's gonna serve us. It's just the unfamiliarity of it, and executing these recipes for the first time without experts around us, and sourcing some of these ingredients. So, like, it's more about like the known unknowns to me that are still kind of floating around in my brain that are creating a type of exhaustion, because it's kind of like your brain goes wild and tries to figure out how it's going to end up 24 hours from now.
You can't tell. We're talking about our anxieties for tomorrow.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, watching, listening, whatever.
Group therapy on Instagram.
Group there, we're like live streaming a therapy switch. I hear you. I really appreciate that we have different anxieties, because then hopefully we could support each other. Like, in a perfect space, it's like one of us is riding the high when another one needs like a little bit of a support or holding. Because I feel like pretty easy. Like, his kitchen is so not complicated, which makes me feel so great. It's like, cool, stove, knives, pots, brilliant. That's all we need, right? We're really ready to go. This part where we're in right now of like making sure we get all the food ingredients that we need. We're in the jungle, and we live in a pretty remote. We live on the peninsula of a small country, and so making sure we can get all the ingredients that we need for a successful dish is like very. I just thought about something that I want to write. Can you write coriander on your list there? Yeah, we need to add that to the grocery list. But like, yeah, I know you put in a lot of templates and like ways to like catch these like downfalls, but so much lives in my head. So I'm like, so when I get it out of my head and like have it in my hands, like the practical like groceries, I'm like, oh, okay, great. And then when we start like cooking, it's like I know we have everything we need, and so today is when I feel a little anxious about making sure we get everything, and then tomorrow, I've thought about what we're making so much over the last like 24 hours / several days that we've been talking about this, that I feel like I've already dreamt how some of these dishes unfold on a plate. I don't know. My dreams give me answers.
What's the biggest meal you've ever cooked?
I've hosted parties for like 25 people, and like
you've done the cooking. Okay. How many people, or where was that? Home kitchen or?
Usually home kitchens. I also hosted a culinary experience with a chef. So she was the chef, and she is like a culinary artist, and I was the host of the evening, and we did this in a private residence, and it was like 7-course meal with 5 wine pairings, and we had like a bartender / waiter friend who was also a professional in his industry. I was the only person with non-restaurant experience there, and so to watch them and witness their level of perfection was astonishing. And how much one chef did to feed about 15 people a 7-course dinner. It's like astonishing.
You found respect for the food service craft.
Yeah.
Just every step of it, right? Like, so much unseen about how you source and think. And I think what's like now become apparent to me is there's always something going on. You're always like sourcing something, you're prepping something, you're pickling something, right? So even though you might be doing a dinner service tomorrow, it's like, well, you got to do some stuff today to have some stuff for tomorrow.
And we planned that it was a 2-evening experience, and it was like pretty involved in like in terms of like culinary and also art and meditation and journeys that we were taking people on. So I got a really cool window into like how a chef, because she co-created the menu, like not really with me, like but with me. Like she, at the end she could veto whatever and like create whatever she wanted, but we were putting together the experience together, and so there was a shared intention there. So
cool art project. Well, do you want to talk about your coconut yogurt experiment? Because
No.
also there's that aspect of it that comes to mind, is like, we're running these things for the first time. What is our buffer for surprise?
So coconut yogurt is something I've legit never done in my entire life. So like the things that we're putting on the menu tomorrow, like I've worked with a lot of those ingredients before. I've made a version of cashew butter chicken. I've made cashew butter chicken before. I feel confident in that. I feel confident in the chaat because I've worked with purple cabbage and I understand yams and their texture. Like I understand mango. I understand how they could be together. But the fucking coconut yogurt was like another situation.
Fermentation is a different plane.
Well, it's not even it's like a like a lactosey kind of fermentation and like the whole process. Like there's a fucking box of coconuts right out our door right now. Like that we scooped and I was like, oh, these coconuts are pretty young. The jelly is pretty young. Is this going to yield the same kind of thing? Because coconut yogurt's so white and this jelly is like borderline translucent. And so this doesn't look like right. And from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised it failed. I'm not sad it failed. I also didn't understand why it failed.
Yeah. It's
Then
experiment number 1, right?
Vegan Richa, thanks. Shout out Vegan Richa. Thank you. She responded to like our little coconut yogurt cry for help and was like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe there are too many probiotics in here.
Yeah.
Which when I think about it makes a lot of sense because the yogurt, the like coconut meat itself was thin. And so I added probiotics that were relative to what would have been a meatier, perhaps, version of that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know how long to. I should have checked it more often.
But you're also keeping it closed so that the humidity built up, right?
That's why I didn't want to open
Yeah.
it. Kind of like when you're baking something and you open the oven and you lose kind of that experience.
Yeah.
So
Whatever. It's experiment number 1.
I don't feel
We
bad.
get a ton of coconut water out of it.
I'm just like kind of running through all the different iterations or variations. Like, what are the controls and the variables that I could shift in the next experiment?
Yeah. Yeah, I made yogurt once, but I did it in an Instant Pot, and it was a dairy or it was a sheep milk yogurt.
Right.
And so in that, you get your proportions exactly right. You close it, and then it's holding the temperature, and you literally 8 hours later open it up and scoop it. Like it was like magic.
Instant Pots are magic.
And I think we would recruit one for like a mass yogurt making, but also I'm like aware of what you're describing because like when you got the like young coconut, it's a very like soft texture.
Yeah.
Versus when I think about like getting to like a milky texture, it's almost like you grind a mature coconut, rinse that out, so you got like that super white milk, and then you use that. So like that's what comes to mind in terms of like creating an equal starting point to a yogurt I understand.
Fuck,
Right.
maybe I could have put coconut flakes in there to counterbalance because I have coconut flakes.
Maybe. Yeah, but we'll try more mature coconuts next time.
I don't even know how to tell if it's a more mature coconut.
Oh, the mature coconuts are like the hard shell, versus these are like green and they're soft, right? Because we asked for pipa. Pipa is tender coconut, versus like coconut duro probably is what I would call it. But then that's a fucking pain in the ass to scrape out, and like I don't know if this blender can handle actually milling it down. Right?
Journeys, coconut yogurt empire.
Yeah,
still,
whatever. It's like experiment
still
0001. And you fuck around with the like culture, right? Like whatever the probiotic is as well, that has some effect. The humidity of it has an effect. How much water has an effect. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Coconut yogurtless, but still full of fruitful energy.
Yeah. Broke the seal on a curiosity, and we'll get a chance to do another pickle, right? With the the pickled onions.
Oh, so pickled onions are actually, my mom said you just do them like OG auntie, aka mom. You do them like a minute before you serve.
A quick pickle.
She's like, because you want the crunch of the onion still, so you don't want it to be like a loose onion. So I imagine that maybe we make that at the beginning of the night, like just after everything's done, and after, like we just kind of make that at the beginning of the night. No, so we do the fruit shot, and then we make the pickle, because like people be eating, and we'll have like a minute, to, like so we could do the pickle then, and then as it's marinating, the service will be done.
Yeah, let's do our itinerary for tomorrow. You're right. Let's get a timeline together so that we know that we're not in the shit.
I like as I'm saying this, you're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, she's
Yeah.
onto something.
She's talking about things, but I don't feel timestamps coming out. So like, let's
Okay.
box it.
I'm not into doing a minute by minute. I just want to let you know.
I'm gonna pull a spreadsheet out.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need it to be written on a piece of paper so we could put it up on the wall.
Exactly. So we could do this. We got this.
There's a
And
lot
it's
of
just like work back, right? Because
Yeah.
we got quantities of stuff we're trying to make, and the number one thing our host at the restaurant wants us to consider is not getting in the shit, or he says getting underwater at the kitchen level. And so if we're starting at 6, we're doing our work back. I think is gonna calm my nerves at least to know that we are in the right place, and also when a surprise hits, we know kind of what we're dealing with, right?
Something I'm thinking about is plating. Like, how
Mm.
do we want to plate the dishes, and how
Mhm.
do we make them like slightly uniform so that it looks beautiful? Because
Mm.
you and I both know that presentation
Mhm.
is definitely part of.
Make it grabbable. People want to grab it.
You know,
And it'll be to our benefit too.
You take pictures of
100%
everything we
too.
eat.
100%. It's like a catalog of what we're doing here, right? So we'll take shots in the kitchen, but we also give people a chance to take a shot there, because then it'll be interesting to see how they perceive it, even how they lay it out for themselves, and the videos and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to capture that.
Aprons, rendemas.
Aprons,
Can you
yeah.
write that down too, next to coriander?
Enter coriander. Okay.
Uh.
Let's see what they got.
Okay, this auntie needs to like eat a snack and go grocery shopping.
Let's go before the fucking place closes and then we're really in the shit.
Yeah, fuck it. That's not okay. Okay, auntie.
Out.
Oh my god. Ah.